Hey, Mark here, and I have a really fun giveaway for you. I have 5 digital copies of the 2025 film One of These Days up for grabs, and you should watch it. It's a lot of fun. I grew up in the 90s, and you had a lot of these day of movies where people are just living their life in a day, trying to raise some money. It's like Friday, Empire Records, Clerks. It's a lot of fun, and I like Keke Palmer a lot. You can't go wrong with her. So if you're interested in winning a copy, please shoot me a message and be like, hey, Mark, I would like to enter for a chance to win one of them days because I love movies about people having one of those days. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, One of Them Days is certified fresh and verified hot on Rotten Tomatoes and now available in theaters and on digital. Keke Palmer and SZA stars best friends and roommates, Drew and Alyssa, who find themselves in a comical race against the clock after Alyssa's boyfriend blows their rent money. With eviction looming, they'll do whatever it takes to stay afloat and keep their friendship intact. Don't miss One of Them Days from Sony Pictures Home Entertainment on digital now, rated R. Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who bought a potato gun after watching this movie, John Levengood.
Screw potatoes. I'm making my own T-shirts and launching them.
That's so in this Deadstream when he shoots his own bobblehead through that zombie and then it falls.
Dude, I just call that his tube gun.
Yeah,
like
tube gun.
When he did that, I'm asking myself, like, wait a minute, was that supposed to hurt it? And then you see the hole in the thing, and then and then the zombie falls through the hole, or with the tube gun going through the hole in his chest, and he's sliding. It's like so. It's exactly the thing you would predict would happen as the scene is showing it to you, but the scene wants you to predict what's about to happen.
Oh man, it's just perfection. And John, after watching Deadstream again, after listening to the commentaries, we've been living with this movie since 2022, and I've always greatly admired it. But I admire it a lot more now after learning about it because the amount of energy that Joseph Winter needed to keep up this role, and just the script that Joseph Winter and Vanessa Winter worked on, and the performances by like Melanie Stone as Chrissy, who's incredible, and just all the work that went into what Livid and creating all the chats. Like this movie, I don't think people appreciate how hard it was to make and film and edit and write, because like this is like Joseph Winter's performance is so perfectly calibrated. John, I adore it so much. Like he's likable, but he's terrible. Like this is a guy who, while battling demons, he still takes the time to write beef jerky cam on a camera and be cheeky while in a near death. Like he can't turn it off. So it's just a pitch perfect, very funny, very endearing film, and I'm just happy we're talking about it finally.
No, this is one of those movies where I saw the trailer and I thought the trailer had a really good flavor, but let's be honest, trailer making has become an art of deception in the last few decades, whereas when we grew up with movies in the 80s and 90s, trailers actually gave you what I'll call an honest depiction of the tone and content of a movie. So you don't really know if you're seeing all the funniest bits in the trailer or if this is even really the tone of the trailer. And then also because of the budget, like it's a found footage, really low budget thing, or lower budget thing. And so I really get nervous again that I'm not just seeing the funniest zingers and everything in between isn't going to work. So it's not that I felt that it had promise, but I wanted it to work, and it worked out truly so much better than I thought it would. I feel like found footage, from when it first, well, granted, there's very old found footage. People don't realize they're like 80s found footage movies, and even Cannibal Holocaust was essentially a found footage movie. But, they took a big downturn in the video era, or, well, late video era after Blair Witch with these super cheap throwaway movies. And I feel like the last decade, Poughkeepsie tapes,
Like
this
Mungo.
dash cam, Lake Mungo, sure, the Paranormal Activity, at least the early movies, if not all of them, we've gotten some very high quality, thoughtfully made, Unfriended, Host, Grave Encounters. Like there are
As
some
above,
really
so
fun
below.
ones,
Troll Hunter.
right? there's some really well, and yeah, and some of them have more production value, right? Like As Above, So Below wasn't using it. It was never an excuse to cut, even though I'm sure it allowed it a little cheaper. So, but this one just looked, it didn't look like there was a lot of production value financially here, to my eye anyway. So it's like this really turned out glorious
Glorious.
for what I expected from the trailer, and the trailer did kind of honestly show me the budget of the movie, if you will, regardless of my estimation of it. So this was, and it's a lot of fun. And like you said, that character's so, he's like cocaine Jim Carrey 90s energetic, but it's not stupid. It doesn't push the stupid too hard unless it's playing a Sam Raimi gag with a finger up a nose for a tongue in cheek giggle. This was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed it. I'm rambling now.
No, you're right. I mean, listen, Vanessa and Joseph Winter, they maxed out. They got credit cards specifically for this movie to take out money. They had an incredible crew who work for cheap. They found an old house. They built a little wall on it. People were break. It was a haunted house in the area where they shot, and people were breaking into it almost every night. Like they had to bring the bathtub in. A lot of the effects they didn't have much money for. But this is what I've always learned. I think that these kind of movies, like these independent films that can't pay
Scrappy
much,
movies is what you like to call them.
like these scrappy movies work when a core group of people believe in it. So you had Joseph and Vanessa. Then you had Melanie Stone. Melanie Stone knew some of the stunt performers who worked on this movie, and they came in and worked for cheap. You have, like the production design by Amy Leah Nelson, and then like the art direction by Meg Cabell. Meg Cabell. I mean, they just had like the production manager was Jared Cook. Like all these people work for next to nothing. Like the cinematography was Jared Cook. Like when you look at Jared, he also produced it. There's a video of Jared Cook who helped produce and make this thing with the absurd amount of work. But I think this movie works because it's low budget, but people believed in it. And I think there's a lot less improv than you think. And you just it's pretty cool that movies like this are made on such a small budget that hit above their weight so hard. And I think they did that though. They thought about this movie long and hard. They rehearsed it every day. They blocked it every day. They had a timer for the jokes because it was on I was on Livid, so it was one night. So they had to time the movie. So like there's punchlines for jokes and edits, and you had to make a dislikable character likable, but you couldn't make him totally likable, but you couldn't make him totally unlikable, and you had to make him funny, and he couldn't be a total bozo because he's clearly smart. And then also too, like I've been working for a YouTube channel since 2020. So a lot of his talks about like swearing and getting demonetized and like the slightest things, it's kind of crazy on some of these videos. Like, let's say someone's wearing a bikini by the beach, it's fine. But if they're wearing a bikini in the house, it's not fine. Like the rules on YouTube are so crazy. And this is another
Because now you're sexualizing someone in the house instead of wearing appropriate attire at the beach.
yes. And I know this is on like a Twitch type thing, like this livid, but like I love that, like, he's swearing, he goes, "Crap, that's one strike." Like, he's thinking about swearing while shooting, and
While
but you know what?
terrified.
You don't even need to know anything about how social media works to enjoy his journey. Like, it's just a funny thing, like, he's like, "I'm like Salt Lake for ghosts." Like, he's just an idiot, and, like, I love that, like, eh, the plot of this movie is Sean Ruddy, he is this disgraced YouTuber who, like, does really, like, jackass style stunts, puts himself on the line, smuggles himself into Mexico, and just does a lot of tasteless stunts, but he has millions of followers. Eventually, he gets canceled because he has essentially hires a homeless man to fight, and something terrible happens to the homeless man. He eventually comes back and he decides to go to this haunted house, the most haunted one that he could find. And the rule for him is he films it all. He has all these cameras. He has a great setup, which makes sense for the found footage. He has a rule where he has to investigate everything that goes, or his sponsors will leave him. He has a board of stupidity that, like, every time he flicks, he has to do like an exorcism or a seance. So this is a guy who's so desperate to be back that, like, he goes into this haunted house and his night, and that's what makes it believable, because this is a man who's so desperate to be loved that, like, he puts himself through this. And I kind of love that he's sort of smart and scrappy and uses potato guns to kill people, but he's dumb enough to destroy like Hamza's, which set off the entire curse in the house. But I don't know, John. Like, it's from start to finish. This is just a very likable, fun movie. Like, how did you feel the first time you watched it? I know we
You
talked about it
know,
a little bit. Like, well, it was like the one like were you? I was bursting with happiness. Megan sat down a third of the way through and watched the rest of it because she was like, "This is great. Like, this is a movie that I think this draws you in and you love it."
I think likable is a very appropriate grounded word. Like you're watching it and it's not that it's amazing, it's that it's on point. And it's not that I mean, I love it in a way, but this isn't, some top horror movie for me, but the amount of time that I spend actively enjoying and actively liking it and actively smiling is probably really high relative to most movies I've ever seen. And even though my highs might not be the peak of the roller coaster, right? Or the peak of the amp, the sound wave, if you will, on the graph. It's that my baseline is is a smile. My baseline is a smile waiting for what happens next. It's
And there's
interesting
always
what
a
you said
funny
about the
line.
timing too, because the pacing of the humor is really good, and the pacing of his kind of yelps, which are very endearing, is really good, or him hurting himself, or his awkward scrambles, or again weird things that he said, like you said, how he just integrates, oh my, oh shit, oh no, 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 sorry YouTube, this one strike over, it's like everything he's telling the story, like you said, about what it's like to be a monetized social media person without having to explain it, and I get it.
Yeah.
It's all very satisfying. It really is. Likable is a key word, and that sounds like a soft word that isn't very powerful. But when you pair it with the fact that you're just smiling like the whole time you're watching this, though, it's just nice.
It's
This is
joy.
a horror comedy that's just nice. Like,
Yeah. I 100% agree. And what's interesting, like, they really worked hard to make. I love what he said. So this is what Joseph Winter said. He's like, "What I'll add is that we research influencers. I started to get attached to some of them that I initially really hated, and I realized that they were actual real artists that had some aspect to them that their audience really enjoyed. And if we created Sean and he didn't feel like anybody in real life would want to spend time with this person, then we would have failed. So it's important for us to try to insert wherever we could some self-deprecating joke like the creator face bit that he talked about, or some aspect to him where you think, okay, he actually is funny. And I see why 12-year-olds or whoever have latched on to this person and like watching him hurt himself. Like there's a likable aspect to Sean Ruddy. And it's I think he craves attention and he always wants that. But I think they did a good job of, you watch some of these movies and you're like, why am I watching this person? Right? You're just why who is this person? Is this person interesting? And I think Sean scratches all those, like, checks all those off because, he has the screams, but he's also kind of smart. He figures out that what Mildred is an influencer and she's building an army of people to love her poetry. And then, like, when they're fighting, he's like, I am the influencer, Mildred. And just when she's slamming his head on something, she's like, smash the like button. Like or the subscribe button. Like there's some beautiful, funny humor in this that I'm telling you, this had to have, how much stress they put on themselves. They said they rehearse this every day to match the tone and the beats and like get the movie moving right. And I don't know, it's one of these films that I deeply respect because, you know, millions of films are made, not millions, thousands of films are made each year. And this one for me, like, was the cream of the crop. Like I think Joseph Winter is maybe my favorite performance of horror movies of 2022. Like it's just such a, even his expository dialogue of explaining the house, he's doing it to explain it to his listeners. So
mhm.
you're one of the listeners. And that's what kind of great about found footage too, is like you're in it with him. It's like you're in this adventure with him and you're reading the screen, you're laughing with it. So they just did a really good job of manipulating the found footage uh, genre to their advantage. And yeah, I know I'm just heaping praise on it, but it's a movie I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and you and I have both wanted to talk about it. So I'm looking at the Steelbook Blu-ray right now that I own, and it's just it's I don't care, John. I love this movie. It's funny and it's gross, and there's fingers going up noses and heads explode. I mean, it's just he's such an idiot. Sean is such an idiot, but I
I
like
like
him.
though, even when if we were just having a critical deconstruction conversation about found footage movies, a lot of the things that his character does, but that is in the writing, is actually really, really thoughtful. a lot of times you got whether it's a haunted house movie or a found footage haunted house movie, whether the found footage element is there or not. Okay, what keeps them trapped in the house? Oh, the door is locked now. The ghost locked it. Oh, now the car won't start, or something. And then also you might even have them try to subjugate us, and yeah, they're going to say, oh, what, like you think that something's going to happen and someone's being a dick, and they just take the keys and they throw it out, the car keys out in the woods. But these scenes feel forced. They feel like, oh, okay, this is how they're going to get stuck here. Whereas in this, he's letting his audience know, like, we're going to, I'm going to be, I'm my own worst enemy. So here's what we're doing. We're taking off the spark plugs. He couldn't even hotwire this thing. And he's throwing out two spark plugs out. And then he takes this key, he drops it down a little bit, and yeah, he could probably get that key if he really wanted to after he padlocked himself in, right? But the thing is that he there's an explanation, the presentation and execution is good, and even though we both know that he could, you don't need to be a strong man to rip that thing off the ground. I don't think, that vent, to get that key. No, instead he literally runs out like a cartoon character from the second floor window and falls and breaks his leg at one point. Like, so he's, a lot of this stuff is being really thought out. And then again, there's smart things that I've seen in Grave Encounters, for example, which was a mockumentary. Well, not really. It was a satire of a found footage of people doing a fake paranormal show. And in that, they're showing the behind the scenes and making fun of the behind the scenes stuff. Whereas in this case, he's just like, what stupid things do people do in this? Hey, I have my wheel of stupid. Here's exorcism. Here's seance. Here's Ouija board. But this is exactly what an influencer, a smart influencer, would do to play on this. And then we watch the movie, and you say, how did they get access to this wealthy villa, even if it's haunted? And whereas our guy says it's the most famous, most haunted house in the nation. It's not so famous that I couldn't film in it. It's, we get all these little doses that are almost like doses that ground this in reality, even though the movie is silly. And like, I again, so much thought went into this. You're talking about all the rehearsing, which now that you say it makes sense. But the writing, like, they weren't just throwing something together knowing how to be funny. They wanted to, this would be well written if they took it seriously, because of the measures that they're using to approach this. It's oddly impressive. And this is what they did. Some short films. They basically did nothing that I could have ever heard of before this. And then after this, they did a VHS segment with
One
the
of my
same
favorites.
actress,
Yeah.
Melanie Stone.
She's
Um,
hilarious in that one too. She's perfect in it.
and I don't believe they've done anything since those. Am I correct?
I think they're just working on things now. So I think they're just trying to
Yeah.
get things funded. But I mean, between those two, they, at least their doors are a lot more open. At least they don't have to max out credit cards to probably get their footage or their movie made. So
Hope
it's
so. Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to see what they can do with a little more budget. They clearly don't need budget to make things happen, but like, give these guys a Blumhouse movie, like a starter Blumhouse movie, old school, right? Well, $1 to $3 million.
yeah,
See what happens.
good stuff because they're smart and they think about it and like they're a great team. And you know what I love too is he has internet, he has cell service. He, like, even when his laptop dies, he has his computer on, and people called the cops, and the cops didn't believe it, and he took his spark plugs out because he knows what'll happen. So and then he couldn't find him, and they see that lizard. But yeah, and then he gets his soul tied to Mildred, and he's like, "Well, crap! Now I have to go do the same thing to her," which ties him to the house because he's an idiot. But it's still perfect. But I think it's all good. He leaves the house and he has to come back into the house. There's a scene where, probably one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. He builds a spear cam
That's
and he
right.
stabs a ghost. And then the ghost takes the spear cam from him and then stabs him in the leg.
Poor guy.
It's so stupid. But you know what though? He's duct taping himself. He's like staying alive. He's oddly resourceful. And I think that's what's great about characters like this, where if you're going to be dumb, at least be resourceful. Like, how many movie characters are just dumb in the horror genre? or not, for lack of a better term, dumb or one note. I feel like this guy has several notes to him, which is good. I mean, but I mean, if you think about Evil Dead, right? Ash is an idiot. He's kind of like this the zero personality survivor. Like I think, and he's perfect because I love Bruce Campbell. He's one of my favorite actors. But what I like what Joseph Winter does here is like he's like, I do this because I hate myself, and just he's like there's very, you know what's interesting too is since the cameras are always on him, he's always on. Like he's never
Mhm.
really real in here. I think one of his realest thing where he's like, I'm not sorry for doing that 20-minute apology. And then he does make an apology, but he's like, I'd like to apologize to the blacks and the Mexicans. And you're just like, Sean, he's such an imperfect character, but he's deeply broken. And I think that's kind of what makes him likable, if that makes sense. I still know all of his flaws, but
Well, I mean, they play the gag hand very well on him, his personality gags, if you will. Like that, so it works. It's not that his characteristics are endearing, the delivery of them manifests endearment, I think. Like I really like, by the way, how you know, not a lot of movies have really done this yet, or at least not in a way that I liked. But this and Dashcam
oh
both
man.
did great jobs with the real time comments of people watching the stream, and and it's you don't catch them all. If you pay attention to all the comments, you will miss major visuals in the movie, right? But they're at least the, you know, you catch some of them when it's a little quiet, you catch some that he responds to, you see some that he misses, like in the hallway, in the, you know, like
Hmm.
it's in the hall. And then later on they're explaining like what happened. They're like, they send the video, the kid sends a video, the of his grandmother talking about whatever it was, the Hansa, that's not the word, that hand,
Yeah.
I said that because it's like hands,
Hamza?
you know, symbol that he broke, that was the protective ward. And she was explaining how that she put that in the house. And I don't know, I liked all the interaction with that, he's having a dialogue with the comments that he's reading. And that worked a lot better than it deserved to, or than I've seen it go in a lot of other movies. And again, even some of the, just seeing some of the random comments of like, this is so fake. I'm not watching this anymore. Why am I still watching this? WTF, this is so boring. And then something happens like, whoa, that's great CGI. Like
Yeah.
all that really, that was very thoughtful. Someone's thinking about these scenes, but it's not like you think of the scene and then afterward someone thinks of a comment overlay. You're actively thinking about the comment overlay like it's a character with dialogue, even if he isn't always aware of the dialogue. And that's got to be a weird headspace to put yourself in. It's almost like you need two writers to do that, or to compartmentalize yourself and only think about one thing at a time. And then I don't know. I don't know the way to do this, but it's very impressive.
Just keeping your energy up. Like imagine just being on set 15, 16 hours a day and you're the lead. I know you're directing it, you have a personal stake in it, but just keeping your energy up and be like, what? I'm not gonna kill myself. Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, what's this mean? Like you just keeping that energy up all day. That's a lot of work. And just yeah, watching him do that, watching him read those comments, and like they're mean. And but that's real though. The internet's mean. So I like that these things are like, go kill yourself, or like I hate this, or like just Chrissy's hot. Oh, she's still hot looking like that. And it's
Or they're like, dude, that's not the cop. And then they show the picture of
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
photo that he saw. Or like, it's very engaging. That's what
Hmm.
it is. He's very engaging. And then just the comments are engaging, and the interactions there were a wonderful catalyst.
That dash cam movie though, man, I had a good time with it. But I read you have to really get on board with that personality in dash cam. The lead the lead character in that movie, like you gotta
Yeah.
like they really commit to her. I'm trying to look for her name. What's the when that movie come out? 2021. Oh yeah, what was her name? Oh, Annie Hardy. Like you really had to like be on board. That's an exhausting film.
And that's the
But
character's name. Oh no,
yeah,
that's the actress.
yeah.
The character's named Annie, and she's Annie Hardy playing Annie. I gotcha.
Well, that movie has a 4.6 on IMDb, 47 Rotten Tomatoes, and 48 Metacritic. So it's pretty
That
uniform
that's
across.
wrong. I
Yeah.
don't know how to put it better though. That is incorrect. That should be higher.
I guess what I like about that though is isn't a divisive film. It really is. Like you gotta be on board with that Annie. And if you can be, then you're gonna have a good time with that movie because it's propulsive and it goes places you're like, geez Louise, I did not know that was happening. And you know what's interesting? Like we've had a rise of this. Like that movie Spree with Joe Keery came out, and I enjoyed that as well. But that was a little bit more of a ride, even though he's driving around on a ride share the entire time. But that one's a little heavier. I guess what makes Deadstream stick out so much is that it's very watchable. This is a very rewatchable movie. Like, I don't see myself getting old of this. Like, I don't see myself getting old of someone taking a cam from him and stabbing him in the leg with it, and that jump out of the house and just Sean's such an idiot, but maybe I just like idiots in cinema. Like, John, I love Jack Burton. I love Ash. I love Sean Ruddy. Like they're idiots. Like they're blowhards. But somehow when it matters at the end, they're still in it, even though
Well,
Sean did doom
to
himself
be
to a
fair,
lifetime.
Sean doesn't actually fail up. He just happens to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no failing up for him. But it's fun watching him survive. And I don't know, I guess just researching this more and just like this is one of those movies you listen to the commentary and you just learn about the amount of work that they went into, and it just makes me happy. Like I was he say, garlic is bullshit.
That's right.
And he's just like, let's demonetize this bitch. Like it's just I don't know. And I think this only works because they do have a good grasp of YouTube. Like they have a good or Twitch. They have a good grasp of how it works and how you get demonetized and how you can have followers. And I love that he's drinking that energy drink. He's like, don't drink all of this because like Logan Paul and all of them have
Because
their
he's not because I'm not a kid
yeah,
anymore. He
they have
said
like their
too.
energy drink, Prime, and like he's shelling energy drinks that probably just would make you pee yellow, green or purple whenever you're done with
And
it.
as soon as Chrissy as soon as he accepts Chrissy's presence in the house, she's sitting down to talk to him, and he immediately offers her one, and again he's showing it in front of the camera. Like it's just he's not really offering her a drink, he's offering an advertisement that happens to come with the drink. Like
And then he gets jealous of Chrissy when everyone likes her more than him.
right. But it's working for him, so who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah.
In a way, but
Oh man, and I love when she turns up, and I think I knew pretty much immediately that Chrissy was up to no good, but it still works. And when she bites onto his neck when he realizes that she's Mildred, and then he stabs her in the throat, just it's a movie. You know what's interesting too is I think movies that I love are movies that I just you don't know where it's gonna go. And I don't think I ever knew where Deadstream was gonna go. And it keeps finding ways to be funny and inventive. And I kind of like that. I never would have guessed that he would have murdered Mildred, and then like she disappears, and then he has to use duct tape, and then it turns out that she's a poet who wants an audience, and then like he's the influencer. Like it's just so stupid. And I think that's why I like it too, because it really is like a roller coaster ride. Like a roller coaster is going to go fast and do some loops, but sometimes it's nice to like you're going up on that roller coaster and you're not quite sure all the loops and turns you're going to take. Like it's going to be fast and crazy, but it's fun to have some surprises or like feel a turn you didn't think would be as intense. And I think that's this movie where you're like, okay, this guy's an idiot. It's going to go horribly wrong for him. They drew a lot of inspirations from Wreck. They drew a lot of inspirations from like Reanimate or Evil Dead. So it's going to have some silly moments. It's not going to have a naked woman bludgeoning people to death in an attic, which is good because Wreck is
or
crazy.
a naked woman rotting with a chainsaw
Yeah,
with no head.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I just dug it because just when the head exploded, like even when he wins, he loses. Like when he gets out of the house, busts his leg. When he shoves some holy water in a dirty syringe and blows up a head, it explodes in his face. When
Right.
he defeats Mildred, he dooms himself. So it's like it's just fun. Like the piss just he even gets waterboarded with his own piss.
Oh, that was horrible.
And it's just
Poor
like
guy.
this is a guy who, for every win he has a loss. It's just kind of this is funny. This movie's
By the
just
way, that
fun.
was a lot of urine
Yes.
in that bucket.
Well, that's what that energy drink does.
But I mean, I don't think 6 energy drinks would produce that much urine. That was a lot.
Do you think
That
they
was
missed a
like
chance of not making it like purple, or would that been over too over the top?
you know, right. Well, you know, the problem is that if you made the color just a little off, you don't really see it well enough
Yeah,
for long enough to catch it, I guess. And then if anything, you're just like, what is that? Is that your, then you don't even know it's
yeah,
urine
good point.
almost. So that's probably, they probably played the card right. You know, it's funny. You mentioned not knowing where this movie was going to go. As you're saying that, this is one of the few movies I watched where I don't think that ever even crossed my mind. It's pretty manic, and the personality is very engaging, and so like I never find myself thinking 5 seconds more than 5 seconds ahead while I'm
But you
watching
can be in the now with it.
this. Yeah, yeah, like and right. I'm just trapped in the now. Even though I was watching it for the second time for our discussion, I didn't find myself thinking ahead like, oh right, and then this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen. Well, other than like, you know, Chrissy showing up. Instead, I'm kind of, it's just stimulating enough. It's not like I'm always on my toes, but I'm also never flat-footed at rest. It really keeps you going.
You know what's interesting in movies like Scream? The majority of the narrative comes down to like it's a who done it. Like which one of these people is the killer? And so you're kind of thinking, who is it? People get knocked off, then some people get scratched off, and then it's a twist killer at the end. You know, Final Destination. I think you're just waiting for the logging truck to arrive. You're waiting for the next kill. Saw, you're waiting for the next kill. I think with a lot of slashers, you're kind of waiting on that next moment when someone gets slashed. But with this one, you're just existing with it. And do you think that's a benefit? Like, do you think that's one like Blair Witch? I feel like you do that as well. Do you? I think that might be one of the strongest things of found footage. Where I don't think this is anything revelatory, but it's just nice sometimes with a good found footage film where you're with them, like Behind the Mask. You're with Leslie Vernon. You're watching him. You're spending time with them. It's more like intimate. So I guess that's the benefit of a really good found footage movie where you're with them, you're experiencing everything with them, and I don't know, I liked that about it. I think especially this one too, it's just so endearing that you're right, you're never thinking about what's next because you're just happy. You're just happy with the experience.
It's funny you mentioned the thing about experiencing it with them. I've heard a lot of comedians talk about how like real life events where I think it was Nate Bargatze or Joe Rogan have both been in situations where they were doing an act, or they were invited to do something, but their audience didn't know a comedy act was going to be happening. And so when you're doing a comedy act and everyone isn't in the mental place of I'm sitting here to watch comedy, you don't react the same. If you're not expecting a joke, you might not process, you might not react out loud. You might not act out loud because you're not at a comedy show, and then you don't have that engagement and feedback. So, like in this, though, when something scary happens, he reacts and he gets to cue. Now, if he does a bad job, we're going to be cued with, oh, rolling our eyes. This, you know, this effing sucks or something. But at the same time, when he reacts appropriately and amusingly, he in essence is letting us know our reaction. And like in what you're watching a sitcom with the fake laughs, they're letting you know the joke is over. They're
Mhm.
cueing you, and he gets to be cueing us with it. So it's like the moment he starts running, we know something might happen. With the instead of I don't know, but the fact that his reactions are like a proxy for our reaction. Are we reacting to him, or are we reacting to the same thing he's reacting to? Depends on the scene. So that's more of like the being in it. There's just, it's just a different element, I
No,
think,
that's a great point. I mean,
because
if
he's
you
interacting with us, the viewer.
yeah, so you're with him on this journey. Like, if you watch, like, a slasher, right? You know that's the slashers in the background, and they're, like, the strangers. You know the strangers are there sometimes when the characters don't know they're there. So you're basically in a sense of heightened tension because you're just waiting for that person to realize what you already know. And I think with this one, you're just with him. You're learning as he's learning, and you're guessing
I,
as he's guessing,
and
and
I
it's
do really
all
like, and this is just a found footage thing, but like he could be talking to you, and then he is interrupted by something scary. and then you are just as shocked because it's almost like it interrupted your conversation with him
Yeah.
when something
Oh,
scary happened, when something silly that provoked his response. It pulls the rug out a little better, I think, when all of a sudden you hear something, you and he at the same time hear something, but he goes, he has his little his yelp and just starts running in a shaky cam all over the place. And I don't know. I think it puts us in a better mental state to react to these things, just like being at a comedy show
mhm. You know,
helps you laugh out loud. Whereas if you're watching a comedy at home, unless it's a crazy scene, you're probably not necessarily going to laugh out loud, even if you think it's hilarious.
'cause you're not in it. Like,
Right.
you know what's interesting? I was listening to, this is really random, but Werner Herzog has a book that I listened to, and I love it. But he did some voice work on The Simpsons, and he said that when The Simpsons do table reads, they bring in like 50 to 100 audience members. But before that, they do the table read to see what the audience members laugh at. They bring a comedian to like warm the audience up. So then
Mm-hmm.
when they start reading the script, it's like when you're at home, you're like, I'm watching The Simpsons, I'm ready to laugh. But if you're just listening to people read something, you're a little standoffish. So they primed them with a comedian. So when
Yeah, it
they
would be
went
a
through
little
the table
dry.
read, yeah, like when they did the table read, people laughed more because they had been primed by that. And I know that doesn't have much to do with what Joseph Winter's doing here, but you're right. Like I think he's reacting, he's having a good time, and he's kind of letting you know how to feel, and like you're having fun with him, and you're in the moment. And it's a very rare movie that does it, and that's why I heap praise on it. Like I think this movie is, I just think it's special. I think this isn't easy. What they did was not easy. That's the main point I want to get across. Like movies like this are not, they don't just happen. Like you and I don't go into an abandoned home, John, and come out with this movie. Like this is, even when he ran, he had to keep his head kind of still because they didn't want the shaky cam effect. They didn't want audience members to be nauseous. They wanted some like good footage, and that's why they would cut sometimes other cameras or other iPads to kind of show you what's going on. And so it's just a movie that I think was just perfectly calibrated to let people enjoy. These two made a movie that very few movies reinvent the wheel, but they worked tirelessly to just put a smile on audiences' faces, and I respect that. Like this was a movie for just pure entertainment, and it doesn't feel cynical. I don't think it doesn't feel like a cash grab. It doesn't feel reactive to anything. It's just fun, and I admire
Really,
that.
it feels very much like a passion project.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It feels like two people one time over drinks or coffee, or they have or even if it's a recurring conversation, we're talking about haunted house investigators and all the stupid things they see in movies. This is how it should really be done. It's stupid when someone gets angry and throws the keys. That would never really happen in this kind of argument. This is how it should be done. And before you know it, you have this brain trust lockbox of all these ideas of why it's irrational. And then you put all of your rational versions together, but then then you execute them in this fun way because then you had to decide how to execute it. But like this feels too well thought out to be anything but a deep passion project that you stayed up late on, that you couldn't sleep because you just kept thinking about a scene, or how to write this in over and over again, or what he'd sound like when he yelps. Which his yelp, but I don't know,
Yeah.
is that a yelp? Is that the right word?
Yeah, I
His
think so.
it's not like, it's not that it's specifically feminine. It's almost like a little child's yelp.
Yeah.
Like, and
It's not
it,
overly comical. Like it's not like a over the top. It feels organic in how silly it is, but it's
right.
great.
And then his high nervous voice as he's quickly talking while he's scared. It's or when he's doing his nervous whisper laugh, or his nervous whisper talk, and he's really nervous, but he's still talking. He's trying to whisper, but he's so anxious that he's kind of talking loud. Like it's very humanized for all the antics that are injected into it.
How what do you think a hang with Sean Ruddy would be like? I don't think I'd want to ever hang out with him. Would you?
It's a good question. I don't know. Don't know what he'd be like.
Would you ever
Is
turn
this
off?
This could totally be an invented character, though.
Mhm.
This could like Ryan Reynolds generally plays a version of Ryan Reynolds, but this really might be a manifested character of his. I don't know, but I think I'd like to hang out with the person who was a major part in making this movie. Is it he and his wife, or he and
Yeah,
his
his wife.
yeah? So they're probably cool to hang with.
Yeah.
But then again, you never know. Maybe they're a little too like jestingly intense. If they're anything like the character on scene, I don't know. But hey, if you're listening, Winters, we're just hypothesizing. We'd
Yeah.
love to meet you.
Listen, we're big fans, and, like,
We'd love to meet you.
that hell of one in VHS, that's, like, just one of the best. Like, that's, like, one of the funniest things I've seen, and, like, I think Melanie Stone in that one too is, like, the demon. She's there it's hilarious. It's they you know, it's really interesting a line that people can walk because when you play a character like this, you really are on a tightrope. Like there's very many ways to kind of lose the character or or just go into one territory too far. And I think they do a good job of staying on that tightrope with this guy. And you also witness the multiple phases and like just he's such a bozo, but he also I don't I think characters like this are hard to write, and that's why I think in a lot of cinema there's like the stoic antagonist who's meant to represent a blank slate so the audience can you know uh, uh be them, the be in their eyes, or you have the hero's journey, or you have like this is none of that. Like this, I wouldn't even. I don't think this is a hero's journey. I don't think he's had much character progression in this. Do you think he's had a lot of character progression in this?
No,
No,
no. There's not really. There's probably not really any.
no. I mean, I guess there's not time, but I like that. Like this is just a guy who's having just a bad night, and he's good with duct tape.
That's true. Because other than when he gets knocked unconscious periodically, and maybe 10 or 20 minutes pass, realistically, the movie's runtime is the time that he's spent there.
Hmm. No, but I love the explaining of the house. I love the cameras that he put up. There's a spear cam, there's a beef cam, there's a a mill dead cam. Oh, what an idiot. When he does that, you're like, "Oh, Sean." Like that guy can't like he's in a life or death situation with a ghost that has his soul and he puts mill dead cam on her forehead.
That was pretty funny. When he was putting that on, I'd forgotten that.
And they also drew inspiration from House and like Creep Show and I already said this Reanimator. So you can see the sense of humor in those movies as well. Like House definitely has a sense of humor. It's actually a pretty funny movie. Well, is it? Let's see. It's not the Japanese House. It's probably the other.
Not 1977 House. You mean
Yeah,
1985
yeah,
House?
yeah, yeah. And so I do love the
Although
'77 House.
1977 House
It's very
had
funny
a dark humor. That
and
that
influence
that's
Evil Dead.
right. That's the thing though. Everyone wants to think Evil Dead was the first to do X, Y, and Z when so much of it was, borrowed, inspired. Pick your word, right?
Yeah,
Not a bad word though. Like inspired by House, um,
and
Japanese
I
House.
love that movie so much. But yeah, I don't. I like that they just what did they do? They said they worked really. They blocked it out. It was rehearsed. They also said that like they shot almost every shot before the real shoot. I don't know. I like it. I think that there wasn't much improvisation on this set. Like a lot of the jokes were actually written because they needed to do that. I don't know. I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but I love Deadstream, John. And it's a movie that makes me very happy. And yes, I love garlic, but garlic is bullshit.
Garlic is
So
bullshit.
yeah, garlic is bullshit. Do you have any final?
I,
What do you have any other notes, thoughts, like anything you want to chat about?
I was just gonna say because you brought up the garlic, it's really funny to me, and I don't really know what direction was the thought process with the prop, but when he unrolled his Van Helsing era leather like toolkit with the holy water, the crucifix, the garlic, etc., like he made no comment about what he was unrolling. It looked like you'd buy it at a Ren fair, or it's a part of like a Van Helsing or an Exorcist costume or a prop from a movie, and there's no mention made of it. All he's saying is, "I have these things to protect me," and he unrolls this leather thing that was clearly like from an occult store or costume shop, right? It's not like he just found something at the army surplus store. Absolutely not. That is not what this is. This is vampire hunter costume, or this is a cult shop. Period. The end. And not a word about it. It was just a nice little bit of flavor there.
Because what's nice, like, what it is, and what's funny, he puts the salt down, the salt. When the garlic doesn't work, he's like, "Garlic's bullshit." The holy water, when he puts in the person's head, he's like, "Holy water works." So it's like he's telling you kind of what's in there, but he's not really going, "Okay, I got holy water, I got this, I got this." Like, it's all organic, and it kind
It,
of
it,
flows
it
with the
almost it
story.
almost smacks of the Lost Boys
Yeah.
with their reactions to when they're using the things against the vampires and seeing how
What
what the
works and what
results
doesn't.
are.
Yeah. The
Right.
garlic bath. Oh, man, and I
Oh,
also
like at the
love.
dinner table, it's like, ah, ah. It's like, oh, right, garlic. It probably burns. No, it's just too much garlic. It's remember at the dinner
Yeah.
table with that vampire. So it's like it makes me think of things like that, which also did this very very well. And I don't even think that influenced this. It just reminded me that play that play exists. People can come up with that idea on their own, but that was fun, man. And by the way, yanking the broken fingernail out of a bloody nose a little after the nose pick scene, like it's so that is like the ultimate level of farce that we witness on screen in this movie, and yet I really loved it anyway. It was all, if anything was out of character in the whole movie, that was close, but it wasn't really out of character. It was about as full tilt as the movie gets with the silliness.
And like the finger growing and then just getting those.
Right.
Yeah,
This,
yeah.
yeah, the stretchy finger too.
It's,
Right. It's very Evil Dead 2, but even sillier than Evil Dead 2 in a way. Um,
she's forcing them to memorize their poetry. What a weirdo.
right.
I like that Mildred has a personality too. Like,
Mhm.
she sold her soul to the devil, got married to someone, and then, like, the pond water is still, but like her poetry sucked. Remember that line where he's like, "This stuff is boring." She goes, "They're not boring." Like, read some more of my poetry. No. He's like, "These poems don't even rhyme." Idiot. Hey, John, so what do you want to do? Do you want to do a found footage draft, or do you want to do a horror comedy draft? Or do you want to do
They're
three
both,
of each?
those are brutal. No, no, it's got to be one or the other. I guess let's do a found footage draft.
Okay.
I don't know how prepared I am for this, but I am willing to try. Are we doing 5 picks? Is
Yep.
that how
Fine.
we're playing
Yep.
it?
I'll let you go first.
Okay, I get to go first.
You get to go first.
I'm going to go Grave Encounters because I feel like that, other than a movie like this that we're discussing now, Grave Encounters is one of the better found footage movies of a similar flavor as this. Although it starts out funny and it's not, and then it gets serious. I think it's a good mix of all the things that we'd be looking for in a found footage movie. When I saw Grave Encounters, I was so pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, you've been on that train for a while, and that movie's
Love, and
getting
part
respected
part
now.
two is just a replay of part one, and it's not as good. So don't go thinking I'm talking Grave Encounters one and two. Just part one.
All right, so I'm going a little mainstream, but I really like As Above, So Below. Just it's like an Indiana Jones found footage movie, and
It's
I
an adventure. Yeah, it's an
yeah,
adventure
it's
horror. That's
yeah,
cool in itself.
and like they actually filmed in the catacombs of Paris. Like, they actually got awesome locations, and I don't know. I like what the Dowdles do. Like, Poughkeepsie tapes. They also did Devil. They also did As Above, So Below. But yeah, no, I like it. And listen, I it's an adventure. It's an adventure horror film where they go to hell and then she face palms a demon, and like it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, As Above, So Below is my first pick.
All right, I'm gonna stay in the same vein. Although the next movie I'm gonna mention is not one that was really overlooked. It was very mainstream released, but The Last Exorcism.
Oh
And
yeah.
again, I'm specifying part one, not part two. Strong recommend only for part one. Part two is serviceable. It wasn't found footage at that point. It was just a movie. But The Last Exorcism was like literally people who were doing a documentary to try and show that exorcisms were fake, turns out to be a real problem. And it starts out with a lot of great writing and the humor about it, and people talking about how you fake this stuff on film, and it plays out really well in my opinion. Same era too, 2010. Grave Encounters, I think, was 2011. What about you?
Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
yeah, just he's like, I gotta catch these people, but I can't run. And just it's like the wrong virgin and just Scott Wilson's cameos and just the lore of horror movies. And like his name is Leslie Mancuso, but he's trying to be it's a very silly movie and I love it. I've long appreciated it. So I'm gonna take Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Wait, was this found footage? Yes. Okay. All right. Probably an overlooked movie. It's from 2013. It's a Bigfoot movie.
Willow
It
Creek?
is called Willow Creek.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a Bobcat Goldthwait. That's a good one.
That that's a cool movie because you almost never, well, you basically never see the monster until like the end pretty much. And you're never watching the movie saying, "Are they going to show me this thing?" You never think that. You're loving the terror and torture of this nice couple that was just going out camping or whatever it was. Like Willow Creek, strong wreck.
I no, I agree. Yeah, no, I that's a fun movie. And that tent scene and just no, that's a good pick. That one hits above its weight. I really enjoy that one. Okay, so then I'm gonna take Troll Hunter because
Ooh, that's a really good pick.
there's a scene where after killing trolls or neutralizing trolls, he has to go file paperwork because he has a government job. And so he has these entire forms to fill out. Like just the bureaucracy that he has to go. Like it's just funny. It's like one time this I saw this troll bite its tail and it rolled down a hill and just like he puts on he has to get a blood sample from a troll, so he goes and puts on armor so he can get a blood sample from it. And they're
With
like
a comically large looking
yeah,
syringe.
and just it's a silly movie and but it's good and it's funny and it's well made. So yeah, I'm gonna take Troll Hunter.
That is excellent. Like I could just as well call that a fantasy movie, almost like a contemporary fantasy movie. Like that was such a cool movie. I was so excited when I saw that trailer, and I was so nervous about what the quality of the actual movie would be, and I was so relieved and elated with how awesome it was.
I love it. Yeah, it makes me very happy.
Okay.
Let's
Next up for me. Okay, I'm a little. I'm going to do it. I don't like that Dashcam has those shitty ratings. I thought Dashcam was really good, and I don't want people, if people are listening who haven't seen it, whoever looked it up and saw the shitty ratings and said screw that. Look, the main character is incredibly annoying. She's supposed to be. They're succeeding with this movie, and it tortures our secondary protagonist in this. So just go in knowing that the character is incredibly annoying and that that's the kind of person that gets people killed, and that's fine because that's why you have a movie. But Dashcam was really well made. I was really pleased with it, especially with the comment thing, just like I was saying about today's movie, today's discussion. So Dashcam pick number 4 for me.
Okay, I love it. No, I mean, I got you. It's funny. I got on the movie. Like it connected with me. I think it you just got to get on its wavelength. And I think if you can get on its wavelength, then you're gonna accept it and you're gonna dig it. Now, John, I don't want you to think I'm cheating, but I think you remember me talking about this. Like, remember in the early 2010s when I was like, I've always loved M. Night Shyamalan. And I've always said, after his big budget flops, I was like, he needs to go back to like a $5 million movie and he just needs to go reset. And then all of a sudden he comes out with a 5 million budgeted The Visit that he self-funded. And now his career is blowing up again. Like, and so I'm gonna take The Visit. He teamed up with Blumhouse. He it has a really fun twist. It made good money. It put money in his pocket, and I think it gave him momentum again. So just the the devilishness of The Visit is why I'm gonna pick it, and it just makes me happy. It's a found footage movie that put him back on the map, and it features a great diaper bit and a very fun twist.
It's funny, I totally had forgotten until you brought it up that that was a found footage movie. That's that yeah.
I had to take it. I don't know. I just because
No,
you know,
I love that
I
movie. I
I
love that
wrote an
movie.
article for Movie Stones and Flicks, John, in probably 2013. I was like, yeah, he needs to get back to, not that I know any better, but I was like, he needs to get back to kind of that, and he did, and he's doing well, so it makes me happy.
Okay. I feel like Poughkeepsie Tapes and Blair Witch Project and Cannibal Holocaust, they all speak too loudly on their own. Anyone searching for found footage movie lists. I'm gonna pick something that's on lists though, and I feel like it gets a bad rap because it's quiet and very patient, and it divided a lot of people. But I love parts one and two actually of Paranormal Activity.
Oh yeah,
As it turns out, I actually think Activity 2 is probably the superior movie. They learned a little bit from part one, but they didn't start going too far or getting what I call a little silly like they did in part three and past that. But Paranormal Activity, I find people say it's boring. I would stare at that screen while someone's walking
yeah,
through the kitchen in the middle of the
yeah.
night and it's quiet and you're staring so hard, you're looking for something to move, you're waiting for, and then all of a sudden all of the cabinets open and the woman screams and you're just like, and you're startled to, and to me, like, that was one of the coolest jump scares where nothing comes around the corner. And yeah, it's a loud noise jump scare, but there's no camera angle change, there's no cut, you're watching continuous footage and you're just staring. And I feel like it just works. But I love that. I love those patient things where my eyes, I feel like if I blink twice really quickly, I might miss something. And that's one of those movies. And I think based on the way I describe it, if that movie's for you or not, because
It's
it's totally different from the other ones. But I love parts one and two. They've got to be seen. Please see Poughkeepsie Tapes, Blair Witch, and Cannibal Holocaust as well. Maybe Mark's going to pick one of them. But Paranormal Activity 2 closes out my picks.
man, that I remember watching the first Paranormal Activity. That thing floored me, man. I love that movie. That's a great pick. All right, and then what I like the ceiling fan one too, like the thing going back and forth. So let's see, what do I want to? So I have some big hitters here: As Above, So Below, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, Troll Hunter, The Visit, and I need to take one more found footage horror film. I am going to okay. I'm gonna take VHS 2 because Timo Gianto's
Asian director,
safe
right?
haven, yeah, Indonesian, like his safe haven is
Yeah.
like one of the craziest. Like even the one he does for VHS 94 is amazing, but I'm only picking VHS 2. I mean the zombie one's pretty funny too, but his safe haven clip in VHS 2 is insane. And Gareth Evans also directed it, the guy who did The Raid. So you have Timo Gianto and you have Gareth Evans making a cult movie that's just balls to the wall. So I'm gonna take VHS 2. I love it. Hey John, so where can people find you, man, before we get out of here?
You Google John's Horror Corner, you're going to find me on, well, the social media that I'm not too old to know how to use.
Yeah, unless they
You
invent
can
new
also
ones, then
find me
we're out
on
of
Movies,
luck.
Films, and Flicks.
Yeah, don't invent new ones. All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining me, John. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for John Livingood, this is Movies Sons of Flicks. We'll see you next week.